Welcome back. Dr. Kelly Gephardt with Happy Tales Veterinary Emergency Clinic is here with us answering all of your pet safety questions. All right, this person's asking, they have issues with their golden retriever. He's been getting hot spots and itching, and we're using skin-sensitive food. What else can we do?
I would explore the underlying allergies, because the number one underlying cause for this is allergies, whether it is food or environmental or flea, right? So you want to find out what the underlying allergy is, identify it, and fix that, whether it's you need to go on a prescription food or make sure they're on a proper flea preventative and your environment is not contributing to flea allergies. And also if there are environmental issues, whether it's dust mites, molds, grass, trees, you want to identify those and talk to a veterinary dermatologist about immunotherapy if needed, but get to the underlying allergy and then you can manage the hot spots easier. Otherwise, the allergy is going to continue skin inflammation. There will be cracks in the skin that will lead to secondary bacterial skin infections, which are also itchy. And then it's this feedback cycle that it just becomes very difficult to manage. But check out those allergies and manage the secondary problems.
All right, and I think, they think they're doing the best that they can at home, but now it looks like to the point where they need to actually go see the doctor and see what's going on with that.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
This person says, is there a way or a website or any other resource available to know what lakes are safe for dogs and humans too, especially with the algae scares over the past few years? I just heard about this, that a whole bunch of dogs had died in one certain state because they all swam in one lake and that algae caused them to die.
Yeah, green algae in particular is one that's very toxic that is talked about a lot. But I would say if it's safe for people to swim in, then it's safe for your pets. If you wouldn't swim in it, or if it's not rated for human swimming, I wouldn't let your pet swim in it. That's the easiest kind of rule of thumb to go by. You can also just check each individual lake to see if they have any particular warnings about algae blooms or no swim warnings. That's the best thing to do. So use it as a barometer of, can I swim in it? Then my pet can swim in it, because they're going to drink a lot more water than you are, and they're going to be exposed a lot more to the things in the water, the little protozoal organisms and other things that might cause vomiting, diarrhea, or other toxicities. So if you can do it, if you can swim, they can swim.
Okay. This person says, my senior dog recently caught pedal papilloma. I don't know if I'm saying that correct. Yep. What is it? And what do we do if our pet has it?
Yeah, so pedal or pedal papillomas are basically warts on the feet, and dogs can actually get warts on their lips, in their mouth, on their feet, and it is a viral infection just like with people. And you basically, if you see an abnormal growth on your dog, follow up with your veterinarian. They can talk to you about options, whether it's if it's a few of them, just freezing them off. And if it's a bigger problem, then, is there medications that are options? Those are some things to consider. But they are infectious. So if you have other pets in your household, then other dogs, if they are sharing water bowls, they can actually transmit them to each other.
Can they transmit them to you?
No, canine specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just curious. All right, the next question is there any help for feral community cats?
There are some organizations out there like FCAP that can help spay and neuter feral cats, and they also give them rabies vaccine boosters at that time. That is one that I know of locally here in Greensboro that does a lot of really great things, and they may be able to direct you to some other resources for feral cat health and wellness.
Well, since you brought up some of the vaccinations, preventatives, that kind of thing, let's talk about vaccinations and preventatives. We always get this question every single time. My cat or my dog is inside, they don't go outside, so do they really need to get a rabies vaccination?
Yes, great question. I'm so glad you asked. Yes, rabies is legally required for all pets, whether they're indoor only or indoor outdoor. They are legally required to have a rabies vaccine. That's so important. Also, keeping your pet up to date on rabies vaccines and preventatives throughout the year is so important, because we've seen a lot of pets. I think COVID had a really big effect on people not keeping up with their own personal human medical care or veterinary care because of COVID. We all skipped a lot of things, but it also changed people's mindsets about health, wellness, and preventative care. So we're seeing a lot of pets on emergency that are sick with preventable illnesses that if they've been up to date on vaccines, then they might not have gotten sick. If they were up to date on their preventatives and parasiticides, like heartworm preventative, intestinal parasites, then they might not be sick. But because of COVID, I think in particular, it really has affected that, as well as socialization of puppies and dogs. But keeping up, one vaccine is not enough. So make sure to finish your puppy series or your adult series. Make sure to keep your pets up to date on all preventatives, like heartworm preventative and the monthly preventatives that take care of heartworm and hookworms, roundworms, whipworms, and tapeworms often as well. But those are actually dewormers. So you're keeping your pet dewormed every month or every 3 months, depending on the product you're choosing. So keep your pet up to date, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So you can really keep your pet healthy by keeping them up to date on all these things that are really important.
Okay. This person's asking, can a dog have Gatorade? And I'm guessing they're asking because they think, like, you know, it's good for humans, like for electrolytes and stuff like that, but can dogs have it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's got, you know, the sugars and electrolytes. I mean, basically Gatorade is sugar water with some electrolytes added, flavoring, color. You want to make sure that if you are giving your pet something like Pedialyte, that it is a color-free, xylitol-free version, because you're basically looking to replace the water, the sugar, and the electrolytes. It's okay. You know, it's not going to hurt them as long as you follow those specific guidelines.
But it's not like that's something that we should give them to help them out.
No, I would say just give them water, and you know, that's fine. A lot of times if a pet is having vomiting and diarrhea, you know, owners will want to give a little Pedialyte or Gatorade to try and supplement those electrolytes. And I say it's not going to hurt. If they're vomiting, they're not going to keep it down, but just make sure that it's dye-free, so not the red, blue, purple colors, just clear, and no xylitol, in small amounts, not a lot.
Okay, all right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to check in weather-wise, and then we're going to come back for one last segment. Make sure you get your question answered in the next segment.